Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Sunday afternoon here in Spain. So, the theme of today's chat is about the ageing process, really. Graham and I have been, I'm hoping to show you some progress on the boat very soon. That we've had a bit of dodgy weather and we've been up to a lot of things, but not really on the internet over the last couple of days, not since the Friday video. Thank you all very much for joining us. It really felt like you all joined us on the beach for gin and tonics. So, you know when you're doing DIY and you're working and your mind wanders, that's kind of where my mind has been going. And I've been thinking to myself, what on earth are WME, the agents of Meghan or whatever they are, what are they going to do with her? Because she is ageing. Obviously, we all age. It all comes to us. She started out with very nice looks. I personally think very nice looking woman. Not the most stunning, not the most exceptional, but there's no getting away from it. This is totally aside from her personality. Nice looking girl she was, but the more I see her in appearances, of course she's ageing, which is a natural process, which we all go through. And some people age very well and others not so well. And I've got a list of examples because I was thinking about these ladies over the last few days while we've been doing some DIY. One of them being Stephanie Powers. Does anybody remember Stephanie? Beautiful. And that woman, the more she ages, the better she looks. And she clearly has a lovely personality that shines through. Another one, Sharon Stone. Now, I wasn't a fan of Sharon when she was younger. But the more she ages, the more interesting she becomes, the more her personality's coming out. And the more she sort of gets away from the bimbo days. Do you know what I mean? The lady who used to play Sue Ellen in Dallas, what was her name? Linda Gray. Again, another one. I mean, she's really advanced in age and yet she looks fantastic. And again, I look at these kind of women and they're the type of women I'd love to sit down and have a coffee with or have a beer or a vino and just listen to their life stories because it starts to appear on the face. Others don't age so well, and to be honest, I can't actually think of anybody off the top of my head who hasn't aged well, but some people don't age well because they have a lot of stress in their life. Harry, for example, he's gone terribly bald very quickly. Not only that, his hair has more grey in it. His face, it's really showing on his face. The guy hasn't even hit 40 yet. And I am convinced, yes, I think he has a very stressful private life, but I'm pretty convinced that it's probably the lawsuits which he started, which he brought about, that have aged him. Trust me, I've been there, done that, and even when you win, it sucks the life out of you. Trust me. When I was in litigation, I actually physically saw years being shaved off my own life. Not so much Graham because he wasn't the one in the thick of it dealing with it all, but because it was more my area, but that is draining. And it's very interesting to me to look at different people and to wonder what their lives have been like or what's happened. I've made a list. Helen Mirren, she's another one. Now all these people have something in common. Joanna Lumley, the late fabulous Dame Diana Rigg. Now Diana, for those who are not familiar, used to play a character called Emma Peel in the Avengers, and she was very svelte, long dark hair, very attractive, I mean stunning, actually, absolutely stunning. And as she got older, she got a little more thicker set and she cut her hair shorter, but she still had that magic. To the day she died, she had a magic about her, coolest kitty on the block. And that she had some nitty gritty roles. In fact, she was in a thing called Mother Love, and I'm pretty sure it's still on YouTube, and I'll put a link in the description. I think it's 4 or 5 episodes. Oh boy, if you are into like narcissism, and she played basically a serial killer, a very possessive mother of her fully grown son who was a barrister. And she never got over the fact that his father, her first husband, was a lord or a sir or something. So when she was married to him, she was lady, and he had left her and married another woman. Oh, it's a fascinating play. I'll put that in the description, Mother Love. So if you've got nothing else to do on a Sunday, it's a good watch, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, Diana plays a woman in her, I suppose, in her 50s, approaching 60. And you can see the facial expression and how interesting it is. And there is a brain behind that. There's something going on. Julie Walters, another great character actress. I mean, Megan can't do any of these things because she's so false, so plastic, so banal. The Richter grin, that's her repertoire, really, isn't it? The Richter grin. Oh, and maybe Left Eye, One Tear Go, and all that. Jacelyn Smith, one of the Charlie's Angels. Oh, she was in CSI a few years ago, and she just defies aging completely, totally, absolutely. So, I mean, as Megan ages, because I think my point is that her brand, yeah, let's use that word, because there's no rebranding about it, this is the brand of the Sugars, is that she's a young, bouncy teenager, 42-year-old teenager, or whatever she is, 43, 40, I don't know how old she is. She's about 10 or 12 years younger than me, I think. I'll be 54 in April. Well, what's she going to do? All these women I've mentioned, they've struggled to keep Hollywood careers going. Honor Blackman, another one. But they succeeded. And they got roles as interesting older women that have captured the hearts, minds and imagination of not only nations, but people all over the world. Her ship has sailed. What on earth would you do with her if you were, let's say you were someone working at WME? What would you do with her? She's visibly aging now. Some of us embrace it. You know, you can't get away with it. Why pretend to be different? And others, I think they fight it. They fight it so hard. And especially in Hollywood, sometimes, you know, you look at some people and you think, you shouldn't, don't do that. Don't do that, you know. And they mess with their faces and they have all these tricks and stuff. And it ultimately ends up making them look even older than need be. And the last few appearances I've seen of her, it appears that she's not embracing getting older, that her brand is this sort of fictitious teenage, the young royal, when she's actually older than William. She's older than Catherine. She was always the oldest of the four. And I think when Harry first met her, yes, she looked very youthful for her age. But it's just all of a sudden caught up on her, I suppose, the stress. And you've got to admit, there must be a lot of stress in her. Even someone as thick-skinned as Meghan, she must have a great deal of stress, I would imagine. And it does begin to show on her face. But, I mean, what would you do with someone like that if you worked at WME? And that's what I was racking my brains about, thinking, well, I can't even think of a part, a type of character. Adverts, commercials, I just can't. They must be racking their brains. I mean, she's been signed up, was it last April she signed up with them? Well, we're in February now, we're fast approaching a year. That does not make WME look good, does it? From the point of view of other people, I'm not sure it doesn't really affect their brand, their big company. They've got plenty of other superstars. But it doesn't really look very good. And, well, we are now, I suppose, under a year before Netflix contract tries up. Tries up. If they don't, you know, jump ship, make an announcement, quick, smart, which they probably will. I think they will. But I mean, who's your favourite ageing Hollywood star, British movie star? I love Diana Dors, actually. Oh, Dorsey. She was a very well-known UK actress. In fact, she went to Hollywood as well, and she had quite a career there as well. But she put a lot of weight on when she was older, but she always, like I say, kept that magic about her. And they did an adaptation of her life Fascinating. I'll try and dig that out as well and put it in the description. I think I forgot to put a load of things in the description the other day, including a link to the Fitness Hutch, which is just a suggestion. It's another YouTube channel, and there was a lovely video with him and his wife. Just a suggestion, but I think I did forget to put the link in the description at the time, because that video had to be edited. Normally I just do it one straight run and upload it, and that's done. But because we did it at the bar, when we got home we had to edit, and it took a bit longer. And yeah, so yeah, what the hell are they going to do with her? I mean, if she's, I don't believe this suits thing is going to come off, and if it is, it will be a homemade job by Harry, if there's any money left. That's a total step down. Talk about going full circle and coming back. And if she can't even get that off the ground, I mean, good God. I suppose her best bet now is to hope for an excellent divorce settlement. If there's any money left. I don't know. Anyway, thoughts and opinions. What are your thoughts on the ageing process? I'm actually enjoying it. And I remember 20 years ago being in my mother-in-law's garden and having this very conversation with her and my mum, and how much they enjoyed their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and at that stage they were in their 70s. And they were saying to me, each decade has its own drawbacks, but has its own advantages as well. And I remember saying to them, I can't wait to see what each decade, you know, God willing, I live that long, to see what each decade brings. And I see women like Helen Mirren as a fabulous example. And if I can do only a fraction as well as the wonderful Dame Helen Mirren, or Stephanie Powers, or any of these women I've mentioned, but I think you're going to see it pretty quickly in the next year, 2 years. It's going to seed quite quickly with Meghan, and I think she needs to embrace her age, act her age, and then WME, maybe find her some nitty-gritty part for a middle-aged housewife sort of thing. Desperate Housewives! She could be on a revival. Do they still have Desperate Housewives? Brie Vanderkamp was always my favourite. Or the Real Housewives of Montecito. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Now I'm just being silly. As always, have a fabulous Sunday.